My podcast. Or blah, blah, blah. I guess the video game podcast. So. Yeah, the one thing I haven't had on in a long time. We kept my camera on. Yeah, just. Whew. Yeah, I got my haircut. I haven't been on a camera in a long time. Just got my haircut. Oh man, yeah, it's been a while. It's got to do a whole bunch of squats and that. Try to just do body weight squats right now, but yeah. It ended my broadcast because I started off with God bless and Jesus be with us. Sometimes I know the podcast, I know my stream will end out of nowhere sometimes because it likes to reset. But that's the first thing I start off with. I just love it. I just love it so much that like when you get into something, just to say that the governments or the elitist people that don't like, you're doing something good. Like I know, say when people broadcast about Christ and broadcast about stuff, there's always some type of bullcrap that's going on. I always find it very interesting. And every single time that you'll talk about Jesus a lot, that Satan's the asshole, so he's gonna sit there and try to do something to like get you to stop. I have to say that's why you just keep on going. You don't stop. You keep on going. Because Satan might interrupt, but he can't get rid of what God wants us to do. So I know it's a hard thing to bring up to some people. Not, like I have probably have a couple gay people in my audience, and that they're struggling in life. They don't believe that they are what they are. They're highly struggling in life, and they don't understand that they're struggling. And I say, yeah, you're struggling, because you go against what God wants us to do. It gets to the point where Satan will disguise life in various of ways. We say, oh, it's okay to do drugs. It's okay, say like have sex with other men and that. Hold on. I always get the sneezes. And people get offended by this stuff and that. So the reason why I bring this stuff up and that goes, I personally deal with a lot of people that are very atheist based. Now they're not like complete Satanists and that. I can't say that. But I could say that they perform in a way of just to show people that that they're that they don't believe because they see life from a very small spectrum, and a lot of times they destroy themselves a lot, and it kind of gets kind of sad because that when you communicate with them, especially when you go to Christ, that you become part of Christ's world, Christ's family. Sometimes it gets kind of tough because a lot of people around you now, they don't see life from that perspective, and that's what it is with the bulk of people in that. And it's not to say that there's anything bad about that. To a certain extent, there's not really. It's not saying that they're terrible people, man. But it does kind of put it out there that their lives could be a lot better if they found something that would make life more easier for them to understand life. So one of the things that happened the other day, I came in. One of the guys was upset over some ridiculous stuff. I come in, and I'm just like, some person said, "Oh, Walter Call was all mad." It's one of the guys I work with. He was all mad over something, probably because it was busy and that, and he doesn't like to be busy. I guess he loses patience very fast when it comes down to certain things. To me, I just say you just lack discipline. You know, it just takes time to build up stuff that you're gonna have to fight through many things that are hard in life because you want to live an easy life of doing the bare minimum. And that's where it comes down to problems with a lot of people. That when people live too easy of life, it does destroy your life. Not in a fast way. It's a very kind of a slow way, but it does destroy your life because you're going through never wanting to progress it, and progress takes time. It takes, you know, oh, that's pretty cool. I said stuff just takes time. So if you sit there and you're wandering through life and that, and you're like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my purpose is. Well, you need to pray to God to know what your purpose is. No one's going to tell you purpose. No one's going to be out there and be like, that's what your purpose is, bro. A lot of times, it never comes down to that. Because you have your own individual purpose in your life. And sometimes with the majority of people in that, it just takes time to figure it out. Some people's purpose is to, you know, teach people a specific thing, or sometimes their purpose is to make a lot of money to help out other people because of that money. You know, but they say, I was listening to this little short podcast, and I'll go back to what I was saying before with that guy at work and that. Another thing is I have nothing to give this person. God bless this person. I hope he finds his way. You know, but it's just, to me, it's very difficult as of right now in my life to be able to work with some people. Not that they're bad or terrible people, but it's just the silly things that they do that like trigger various of like evil ways of how they like how they talk about things, or how they like spill out negative emotions all over the place and that. And it's honestly kind of tedious. So anyway, I'll go back to what I was saying that. So I was watching a short and that, and they were talking about aliens, which, you know, basically are demons, and that they're outer dimension entities, so to speak. Basically demons. And so I was sitting there listening to that, and they always keep referencing to the Bible, and I said the Bible is the biggest thing to understand how this world actually is, and how people try to discourage certain things. I said, well, a lot of people discourage things like because they don't understand. I said, well, some things you just don't need to understand. That's what it comes down to, why we worry so much, because we choose things that we'll never understand. So why worry about things that you'll never get? If it's not in your control, you shouldn't give any haste to it. Sometimes it's best to just let things die. So we'll go back to what happened at work at. So I come into work in that, and they had a heavy day. And so I was sitting there, I'm like, okay, you know, one of the manager guys called me, and they said, oh, you want me coming early in that? I always have stories like this. This stuff follows me everywhere. And for some reason, it always seems to happen to me. been talking about this stuff throughout my whole entire, streaming career, whatever you want to say. There's always something dramatically happening in my life that I just have to bring up because it just makes, it just happens. So anyway, so I'm sitting there and I come in and that, I clock in. I'm like 3 minutes late for work. And so I come in and they were a little busy in that. Like, okay, you're a little busy and that's, I came in at 8. And so they were getting done with their dinner rush, basically. So coming in, one of the guys was talking to me, and he was just saying like, "Oh, one of the other employees was mad over something," and like specifically, this person never actually explains why they're mad. They'll kind of just get mad and drift off. I say, to me, you're just basically telling me that you are a person that struggles with depression and you need to express yourself towards other people so they can help you. They think they're alone in this world. That's why they implicate these sorts of things. And I can see why people think these things because I used to think these things. And I'm just like, you're not alone in this world. And it's not to say people are going to, like, sacrifice their whole entire life towards you, which, I vaguely see that it happens like that. But people will devote time to you to make you see life from a blessing perspective, which is Christ. If you focus on Christ, everything goes right. It's just the common thing that us as people that are into the glory of Jesus and that life changes. You do get healed. It's like, say, one of the things I've been struggling with, eczema for like 16 years now. I've done medicines. I've done, I try to, eat better than that, which does help out because, with all the crap that we have in our food and that, I try to stay away from certain things like, red dye 40. Got health issues and that with that stuff. And what I intentionally do is I pray. I pray more. Some days are harder than others, but I pray. And I say, even when I was younger and that, more or less likely, my parents would have me pray during like dinner time and stuff like that, so I would pray. And I would pray. But sometimes it does get hard. When you're sitting there and you don't have people around you and you're doing it on your own, it is kind of difficult. But that difficulty is what makes it kind of an empowering thing. It's that difficulty of being joyful and having a fight to get more joyful in that is basically you telling Satan that you have no power over my life. You have no power over anything that I do. It's like I stand with Christ 100%. I may not know the Bible specifically 100%, but there's a lot of things I do know. And I have to say, it's amazing how people's lives change and how beautiful it is when you eventually see our Creator again. To see the one that gave it for all of us because he loves us so much. And so, like, I'm sitting there. This dude, go back to what happened. That he sits there, and I came in that, and they were talking about it, and then I said, like, I really don't care what happens. If he wants to get mad, that he can just get mad. It's like, I'm not here to, like, basically, I was basically stating, like, babysit people, because I'm not here to babysit, I'm here to do my job, and I just want to do my job, and I just want to go home. I mean, more or less likely, if he wants to talk, he can talk, but more or less likely, I don't know if he is, I don't know if he even will. And, like, and I sit there and I kind of just like think to myself, and that's like, and it's like, I'm not here to babysit people. It's like if a full-grown man wants to talk about his problems, he'll talk. You know, and if I do ask the questions, which intentionally, you know, kind of did ask, and instead of like going directly towards him and that and talking to him, because the dude is very envy. He's got an envy demon. It's 100% that he does, because he pops it off quite a bit, and I've been noticing that. I'm like, okay, like this is how your life's gonna be if you keep that anger up. Number one, you'll get paranoid. Number two, you'll be afraid of like everything. And fear and paranoid always go hand in hand. And fear and paranoid always go hand in hand with lying. You'll start going down the trickles of sin. You'll start making up stuff. You'll start creating these like things in your head that are not true, and more or less like it's not you that's giving that kind of stuff to your head. Because anything I know, and I know very well about it, is that depression, anxiety is a spiritual thing that mimics your mind to the things that you're most afraid of. So if you knock out fear and you say, I'm not afraid of anything, which is say, I'm not afraid of dying, which is what most people are afraid of, because you know that life itself is not just this world. And a lot of people kind of have problems with that, you know, and I see why. I've been like that myself, and now I'm not. You know, if I died tomorrow or even died today, I would keep my mind on Christ 100%. Because we will die eventually. And people say, well, that's no, might say that's demoralizing to think about death and stuff like that. So it's not demoralizing to think about death like that. Because in the way you think about it, it's going to happen. Why be afraid of something that is going to happen no matter what we do? It would not matter at all. So you have to give your life purpose, which is following Christ, following God. That's the purpose that lasts for a lifetime. It never matters what anybody says. Because most people say a lot of stuff, but they don't truly know what's going on. I get a lot of close encounters with certain things like family issues and stuff like that. But the bulk of stuff that I say I personally deal with, I would sit there and say, I deal with these specific things. As in with life and that. I was talking to anyway, just go back to what I was saying then. So anyway, so the guy was sitting there, and when I said that stuff, and I said I'm not worried about all the bullshit. And that's like I'm here to work and I'm here to get stuff done in that. Because if I think about all this negative stuff and that, people are all thinking about the emotions of this person. I'm like, I really don't care about the emotions of the person. Emotional person is a foolish thing to keep yourself consumed about. Because like if they want to come out and talk about it, and sometimes they do, and what happens during that stuff and that, he said, an ugly thing towards me. He called me a douchebag. I'm just like, okay. I'm like, really, bro? Is this how we're gonna be acting like this all day? He's like, and he got all mad and like, oh, yeah, like trying to like, dude, really? And I don't know if another person heard, which is one of the managers, and I'm like, I love how, and I said this after he left and that, and I said, I was talking to one of the other employees about that, trying to be like, okay, it was just having a conversation. And I say, yeah, he called me a douchebag, and the guy was just like, really? He's like, yeah, he does this a lot with me. Like, he'll come up to me and he'll like whisper stuff to me and try to act like it's powerful, like his words mean something. I said, well, your words don't mean anything. I said, I could have been a complete dickhead and just smack you in the fucking face and tell you to go fuck off. Then you would have got a fight with me, and I said, I would have just fucking put you in the hospital. But I said, the point of that is that I care about your children more than evidently you do. Because I said, I'm not going to do that because you have children. And that's not a thing that, people that believe in Christ do, is to hurt people because of words. And despite the fact that I said those things, I said it in context to replicate what would happen if I wasn't so humble as I am now. I would have gotten in a fight with him. I would have probably pushed him around that. If not, I would have probably ended up fucking punching him in the face or some bullshit like that. Devil tempts you everywhere you go, and I don't care if you think it doesn't happen to you. It happens everywhere you go. Either you're the one that's instigating the bullcrap, or you're one being instigated against. And it's the one that gives in to that temptation is the one that loses. So if I give in to the temptation of this man every single time, which it happens, amount of times, I tell managers about that. I said this dude's always saying, he called me two-faced, he called me all this stuff and that. But I'm just like, why do you say such things just because you feel that you have to say it? I say, you're trying to get me to interact with you in a physical way, which I'm not going to do. And you keep pushing it. And I'm just like, what if something does happen and you could not overpower it? You will be defenseless. But the thing of it is, dude's cool as fuck towards me every once in a while. Like, we'll talk about video games, we'll talk about stuff like that. It's like, only with me, he works really well. I said, because I'm not emotional like you. I don't give in to stuff. I think about the positiveness in that. I was like, every time I'm in the place that I work, the place gets more positive. It doesn't get more destructive. It gets more positive. And I said, well, that's because I'm not a negative person. I step away from negativity as much as I feel it. See, people give in to negativity because that's what temptation is. Temptation is a negative force upon you, and when you give in to it, that demon or Satan wins. But if you pray for it, temptation fades, and Satan loses. Just speaking the words of Christ and saying that you need him, please take these evil things away from me, evil thoughts or negative feelings and that, because what people don't truly know, all that negativity that you feel comes from the demons. In spite of the fact that people potentially don't want to understand that, why they're depressed. I go on medication. You're trying to fix a spiritual problem with a physical substance. It never works. It never works. Why? Because it's not how we were made. We weren't made specifically to take all this physical stuff and to think that it actually helps to a certain extent of fully healing us. It helps us in a small specific run, just like they say. It's like the pleasures of this world are small. They're not forever. They're very low time consuming. They don't consume a lot of time. Imagine if you eat food, it tastes really good, it goes away as soon as you're done eating it. That's what Jesus keeps talking about. It's like, this world is temporary. Everything is temporary. The sex that you have, the entertainment that you have is temporary. But with Jesus and the Holy Spirit and Lord Father Almighty, that it's not temporary, it's everlasting. And these are the things that are especially hard for a lot of people that are, that don't believe in anything. I know people might say, it's like, oh, you said, well, Lord God, Father Almighty, and say, oh, well, the Holy Spirit, or it just came to my mind that, like, oh, Jesus, they're all God. It said Lord Father Almighty, because he is the main judge of everything, is the Father. But anyway, And these are the speculations I would say that a lot of people go through about life. So anyway, continue the story. That I had to talk about the emotions and that, and so he kept on doing this stuff and that, and eventually I start praying and that, and it was a little short prayer and that. I'm like please help me in that. I keep it sometimes small in that because sometimes interactions are very small and that they kind of dissipate in that, and then later on that he didn't. He said sorry. I overheard him say sorry to our manager and that, and they're roughly all the same. We're all like almost all the same age, and he didn't say sorry to me. But I don't want to accept an apology if he doesn't really mean it, you know? Because I actually don't believe that apologies intentionally matter if uh, if it's not sincere. That's so cool. 60%. I like this one. These are all good. Everything just jumped up a crap ton. Nice. But anyway, so as I was, as he called me douchebag, and I said, it's like, we're gonna do this all day and that, and I'm like, he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, like whatever. He kept walking off, and I kept being all things. It's like, dude, are you serious, bro? It's like you seem to fucking attack me quite a bit, and I think I figured out why. Because I'm something that you're not, and that you intentionally want to be. That's how I kind of can explain it. Not saying like personality wise and that, because different personalities. It's just the structure of what I do, evidently. Now, I'm not saying it's 100%, because it's probably not. But I will say that it is something of a sort. And it happens so often with this person, because this person looks at me, from what I can tell, as a judgmental person. I said, I don't judge, bro. I tell the truth about what people do, and that's what I always say. I just tell the truth about what you do. You know what you do, but if you don't want to know that it's true, then that's up to you. I'm not gonna blink twice over your stupidity. If you want to be like that, then be like that. No one can stop you from being anything besides you. It's up to you to be who you want to be, and it's up to you to be with God or not. Because this dude doesn't stop. He wants me to interact with him, and and it's gonna be one of these days. I'm just gonna tell him, it's like, I don't know why you interact with me in such a native way. It's like you keep on pushing these narratives that you probably think of me that are not true, and well, these days it's gonna clash. Now I know he's gonna probably try to get physical with me, and I'm probably gonna tell him, like, get physical with me. He's not gonna stop the matter. It never will. And she tossed that stuff really quickly. Yeah, it's because I got all my cooldowns in that. Yeah, it's because not that big of a. That's because this gives me 30% cooldown, gives me more speed. This gives me more duration, more that, and this. It says this doubles it, but I don't know if it says while this item's in the inventory, bonus from your ruby, sapphire, or emerald items are double. So does that mean that these are? I don't know what it means. Because it doesn't say they're doubles, so that would be let's see, areas up by 30. No, it's not. Yeah, it's not double it. But anyway, so like, I'm just sitting there trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm just like, come on. I'm like, every time we go through this stuff, that you get so negative, that you speak all this gibberish, like, and you whisper it. There's been multiple times I got into, like, the first time I got into it with this guy, and that we were sitting there, and The guy keeps saying I talk shit, and I'm saying he never explains it. He just says it. And one of the days, in that one of the guys, one of the guys I work with, I guess you say he's confused. He doesn't know if he's guy bisexual or gay or whatever that it is that he doesn't know. And like, and I said, bro, I asked him a question. I'm like, what did I say that you said that I was talking shit? He kept on repeating the same thing. Like, so you put up false narratives to try to say that I'm doing these things, but I am not. And I went up to him, and I'm like, bro, like, why are you mad at me? It's like, I don't even talk. I barely ever work with you. We work for a brief moment. A lot of times I don't even talk to you. It was at the time where me and him didn't really work a lot together. And then before I said that, one of the manager guys got mad at me. And I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, you guys are getting really fucking angry. And he said, and the manager guy said, he's like, why you keep talking shit? I was like, I'm not even saying anything. He says, well, you need to stop doing that stuff, because blah, 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 blah. And I just look at myself and I'm like, did you not hear what I'm saying? I think people are mentally, like, I would say, disabled when it comes down to hearing things that are actually true to a certain extent. And I was just like, dude, it's like, I didn't even say anything. Like, I'm just trying to work in that. I'm asking a question, and you're getting frustrated over absolutely nothing. I said, I'm like, oh, so people are talking shit about me talking shit. And, like, it keeps on spreading. And I said, here's what's going to happen is, all these issues that are happening with certain people, and I've discussed this before that, and I went to the lengths of saying, anyone that sits there and says my name and talks something about me, if you don't ask me, is a utter lie. I don't need to hide my life from people just because, I'm scared. I said, I have people constantly do this. They make up rumors about me and that. I'm like, why do you make up rumors about me? Like, why? Like, to me, it's like, what's the whole point? I mean, it's just like, what is the whole point of making up bullshit? It's like, well, you say this, I speak what people do. And I said, I speak what I see and hear. If it's false, it's false. If it's real, it's real. But what I see and hear comes from a perspective of the workplace. You guys make it personal. I tend to not to do it, even if it does go personal. Because I have faith in Jesus Christ more than the personal demonic crap that the bulk of these people seem to put across my mind. And I've been noticing this a lot with people throughout my whole entire life. I have people that just say random stuff about me, and they think it's true because they assume of it being true, but it's not. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go through this again. Every workplace that I was like, when I worked at the car wash, and I worked by myself. It was so pleasant. I worked by myself. I'd be talking to God a lot, and that it was just so nice. It was just so nice because I had no one around me. And guess what? I got praised a lot for working hard, and I made enormous amount of tips off of my working hard because people that came in day after day after day. I'm like, oh, I guess you're working alone again. I'm like, yep, working alone again. It's like, well, you do a really good job of that. I see you running around. You're trying to make sure stuff's good and that. And people praise me. Even today, I meet people that came from the car wash and that. And, like, one of the guys and that we talked to a lot and that, he came up to me, he talked to me and that. He bought me my energy drinks. Like, you don't have to do that, bro. He's just like, I don't want to do that, because he seems like, he's like, I can relate to you to a certain extent. I said, I mean, God bless you then, That's amazing. We have conversations. We're around the same age. We have good conversations about life and that, specific things and that. I asked him how his kids are doing that, all this stuff. And I'm like, that's great, bro. And then we went on our way. And I get like probably 3 or 4 people because these are people in my area that I live around. So they all know me when I walk. They all know me, and stuff like that. And it's nice because these people are really nice people. That they honk at me, we give good conversations about just like, but basically about love and about being nice towards people. And it's just loving things that are. It's just utterly amazing. And like then we talk about Pacific people that I keep dealing with at my job and that. And I'm just like, my God, it's like I told you that it's constant. It's like there's not a single person that I know and that doesn't sit there and try to say some outrageous, stupid, ignorant shit. And it's like my God, it's just so terribly annoying. And so I'm sitting there and like as I'm having a conversation about time when the guy leaves and that, he apologized to the manager, like I said before, but he didn't apologize to me. And I'm just like, okay. I guess I don't know if the manager guy said something that overheard it because structurally I always, and I'm going to say this, is like I get attacked a lot in this place. If I have to go to our DM about it and really throw it down and say, it's like, you guys got nothing good to say, shut up. Because you keep on enforcing crap. Like, it's good to have opinions and that, but when you're trying to say stuff about people and you're saying it's true when it's not, it's like I don't do anything that I personally don't think is wrong. I joke a lot, and sometimes it's adult joking to a certain degree, but I work with people that are all in their fucking 30s and that, and all their late 20s, so we joke around. I work with a lot of dudes, too, so we have our little fun jokes and that. And the thing of it is, it's just how my personality has always been. And I always get in trouble for it. I like to be charismatic. I do my little slide jokes about certain things that, I guess people might think are, slightly perverted, but it's like, it's not. You just think that because you're just, well, whatever that you might be. Whore, or, you think like a whore, whatever, whatever it is, man or woman. And so I'm like sitting there and I'm like thinking to myself, my God, like this shit happens at every, like I'm not curious if anyone deals with this stuff at work and that you deal with like people are just like, oh my God, it's like why? I was like, why? What's wrong with you? I'm coming here to make money now. You're all like talking about how bad your life is and all that stuff and that's because you need God, you need Jesus. That's all you need. Your life evolves around Christ. If your life evolves around Christ, then you're going to understand the negativity that you're dealing with. You're going to understand the world that you're dealing with. And that's all it comes down to. Is it hard? Of course it's hard. It's very difficult to deal with. I've always said that's just how life is. We can't help the matter, but we can sincerely try to make things better for ourselves. And that's the hardest thing for us to do in this life is to keep being positive. People say they complain about money. Pray for money, then pray for wealth. Learn how to financially yourself a little bit better. Push things a little better with your life and that. Don't just sit there and just keep on doing the same thing. Try different stuff out. Try to move a little different in life. Because you're not going to make life better for yourself. You keep doing the same thing over and over again. And we could say sometimes it takes time. Not that it happens fast. It happens rather slowly. But, that's just how I think about it. Because I went from, a semi-atheist person to a certain degree. When I say semi-atheist, is that I believed in God, but I didn't know what or who God was. That's why Jesus always talks about relationships. He said relationships with me changes you because then you know the truth. Every time you categorize the truth towards people, people get really offended. Like, well, that's not true. Like, what do you mean that's not true? It's the only thing we have that is true. And and so after he left and that, he started to calm down a little bit, and before he said sorry and all that, he was actually calming down that because I was praying that. I'm like, dude, these demons they're ferocious. They will not stop attacking. and it's always me. They attack me constantly. Some people are different than that, but I've been feeling like the notion's been getting a little bit more fucking, a little bit more, excuse me, freaking heavier than usual. And like it's getting to that point where I'm just like that being when Jesus was saying being with me is very difficult. It is like it's really hard to relate to normal people. Like it's really hard for me to relate to normal people. Like it's so difficult. And I found this out because I was talking to so me and my mom and dad were hanging out with their friends. We went to a chiropractor and that my mom and my mom's friend because my dad was with her husband and that. And so we're sitting there and talking and that, and she was saying something, asking me questions about me. I'm like, okay. And he says, she was asking, what do you do in that? And I said, I believe in Jesus Christ in full, 100%. I believe in God. I started talking about biblical stuff and that. And she was like, kind of reading more. She's like, really type stuff in that. Like in her mind that she was surprised. That's what I talked about when I talked about myself. I said, yeah, 100%. I said, all the stuff in this world, all these distractions, they're good distractions, but they're not the main course of life. That's how I think nowadays, and I keep pushing that forward more and more. I try to pray, every morning and that, I don't pray for things. I barely ever pray for things. I don't want God to give me anything unless He wants to Himself. I mean, to me, it's just like people pray, I want this, I want that. It's like, I love my life. I mean, yes, I have my problems. And yes, there's goals that I want to do, but like, it's not to say I don't want help. Of course I want help from God, but I don't want Him to like, because my path in life is what it is. I could have chose a way different path and my life would have been completely different. I could have chose a path that was super destructive. I could have had like 15 kids and stuff like that. And like, and that's one of the things that I kind of bring up and that I tell people. That's like, yeah, I could have had like, I could have had like 15 kids already for all the girls that want to do stuff with me. And other guys would be like, oh man, that'd be cool, bro. You got all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I tell you what, sexual stuff is not anything that I really give a fuck about. Or excuse me, but I really don't care about. I'm trying to get away from cussing. That is just taking time. Dude, look at all those turds. There's so many of them. They keep popping. Yeah, my cooldown's so far down and like it constantly pops up turds. That's hilarious. I got an invincible bubble. This is... But anyway, so like I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm just like, okay, it's like I'm practicing positive reinforcement. And like the bulk of my positive reinforcement, like it always comes down to love. I try to push it. I try to deal with anything negative in that. And going back to the stories with this dude that, like I said, this stuff happened multiple times and it always gets triggered by another person. And this person evidently has got something in their mind that they have about me, and I try to talk to the person about it. And that actually I need to move around that. Oh. Yeah, I gotta move. I really need to get a chair or something. I really need to get one of those chair bed things I can put on my bed, activate as a chair, so when I sit back, I can actually lean back and relax my back, because it's kind of a good exercise in that, but like it pulls on my upper glute and my lower back and that. So, but anyway. So as I was going through this stuff, and I'm just like, man, it's like every time I go through any type of negative thing, that I go to Proverbs, I look at Proverbs, and like I try to remember the foolish thing, like who people are in that, how people are in that, why do people do things in that, and then I come down to a lot of conclusions of like most people are foolish because they don't know God and they don't trust in God, and they say you are a fool to not trust in God. And then when you go to, I think it is in Isaiah, and Isaiah talks about, don't test thy God. And when you go through all this stuff and that, don't test thy Lord and that, it makes it look like, God is so loving and caring that he wants the best for you, even though you don't, or that you don't know the best for you. So when God woos you in the womb, he knows from the beginning of you to the end of you. And he knows who you truly are. It's the path that we choose to take in our life because of free will that he never completely invades on. As in, he doesn't tell us, hey, I love you so much in that. Please. He's begging us, be with me. That's what it is. He doesn't go and force it. He does what we call a small stream. He makes the stream wider and wider until it becomes a raging river to where you're just like, you fully believe, you're fully into in that, and it doesn't matter what happens in this world, that God has your back 100% because you're in a relationship with him. Your faith is high with him. It doesn't matter what you see. It doesn't matter what you feel, if they're negative in that. All those things never mattered. Because in the long run, when it comes down to faith, God's got your back 100%. Every single time. Jesus Christ is right there. He's walking with you. If you want to have conversations with him and that, you can pray. You'll have conversations with him. Now, the conversations ain't going to be like he'll whisper in your ear type stuff. Most of the conversations that, because only for some people he calls out when they're younger and all that stuff and that. Normally there's people that are promised specific things that they have to do. They're promised certain things in life. And some people are promised certain things in life because of where they live at, what families they were born into, and what people that they actually meet. Normally it's the people that they meet in that. And that's what it normally clarifies to. Yeah, right now I'm just going to let this game go for a little bit. I'm just going through it. And when you start going through these interesting things and you start to learn specific things in life that you need to learn. And actually, hold on there. I don't know if this stuff is really high or not. Okay, it's not that high. Okay, so you should be able to hear me just fine. And these sort of interactions that people have in life and that we try to have, over and over again with certain things. It's based upon where you live at. It's based upon what family you live at. It's based upon your family's friends and friends around you. Like I say, the household I lived in, I had to go by this. The family I lived in, that I would say is a very kind of argumentative household in that. So I learned how to deal with a lot of negative stuff. And that's why when I go into work in that, and I deal with this negative person, that this person's negative, but he's not negative all the time. But he gives in to that anger because he thinks that's strength. I said, for some reason, you push your masculinity to a certain extent that it makes you look like a little boy. Because you're getting mad, you're getting upset, you're getting frustrated, you're turning yourself into a sort of person that people are not going to fucking like. And knowing that a lot of people do that stuff, it's because they don't know how to interact with people. I said, well, yeah. That's what it comes down to. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see what's happening to a certain extent. And so when I look at these type of issues and that, I'm just like, okay, it's like, how can I deal with these issues without being such a dick about it? A lot of times I just ignore it. And I'll ignore it in a way that's just like, oh, it's bad. I ignore it in a way that I don't want to deal with the complete bullshit of the issue because, I'm at work. I'm sitting there. I'm trying to do my best with my job and that. I'm worried about, if the person wants to come to me and that. And sometimes having conversations with them can be very harmful because if the conversation doesn't go right, the person's gonna freak out. Like I always say, if a person freaks out and they get upset, it gets to the point where it's very nerve-wracking. So I try my best with what I know. And so one of the things I always push, I try to push positive reinforcement to negative things. Because there's sometimes the atmosphere changes because people throw out negative things that aren't true. And they want them to be true because they want to be right. So they have a control issue, which is basically, they have pride. And pride and envy kind of go hand in hand to a certain extent. Because they're the most devastating things that a person can have, pride and envy. Because them are the things that officially kind of destroy people's lives more than anything else. Like, all the other sins matter. But if you have pride and envy, all the other sins are going to push into. Because if you have pride, you want to be in control of everything. So if you have sloth, you're going to be like, you're going to say, well, I don't need to not work in that. Because people say that they have sloth. They say, I don't need to work in that. I don't need to do anything because everything's given to me, blah, 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 blah. And they're proud of it. But being proud of it, obviously, is different than having pride. But that's intentionally what they show. And so it kind of gets to that point that you live your life and you're like, okay, these specific things that you need to do, and that this. Then you're like, okay, so how do I deal with these problems and that? It's like, what is the sins that are most commonly seen in human beings? Pride and anger. So angry, and then you want to control everything, which leads to more anger because your pride's implicating with anger very, very well in that, so you tend to like to get angry. You like enjoy that, like that. Basically, they enjoy the dopamine rush of it. Hence the reason why we look at a lot of people that smoke weed or do any type of drugs or drink, or they're doing specific things that give them that stimulant, or have sex a lot in that. They're loving what the world's giving to them, but they only are gonna have it temporarily. That's why when they get angry in that, and some people hold on to the anger all day long, like, oh my God. They always talk about God too. That's the funny thing. Every time envy pops up, how many times people get angry, they talk about God. They're like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Blah, blah, blah. You guys are not understanding that you naturally talk about Christ and talk about God, even though that you're angry with a demon that's personifying with you. That's the first thing they do. Or people will say Allah. Allah is God. It means God. Now the Allah in the Quran, how they descript it, is Satan. But they say Allah sometimes describes it as Christ. There's a lot of different ways that Allah was described. But the point of it is, that's all similar. Oh my God. I got all my shit. There's so much stuff there. I'm about ready. I gotta go to the bathroom pretty soon. Sure thing, boss. Whee! That's me. Yes, sir. That's gonna make it really big. That's cool. I don't know if there's a max out for that or not. Let's look at it. Oh, no, it just keeps going up. Yeah, it's at 230%. That's funny. Oh, there's more. Yeah, I like the area. Look how big that is. It's really bigger than my thing. But anyway, so like every time we go through these type of situations, I go through a lot of that. It happened like 3 or 4 times with this dude. And it happened with the guy too, that I talk about. They're having like semi-game manager or whatever it is. Like, these people are just so confused about life and that. And I try to have a conversation with them afterwards and that, and I'm like, bro. And I said, this is the second time you got mad at me over something that wasn't true, and I keep count of it because he keeps on doing it. I was like, really? He's like, whoa, 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 about this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna say it like this. Don't worry about what other people say. If you hear your name, people talk about people in various of ways. I'm not gonna talk about people, especially if you know the person's personality of a person. My personality is I don't talk about people unless it has a truth to it. Because I hate doing false narratives, because a lot of people do false narratives. And I'm the one that gets struck with a lot of the false narrative bullshit, because I'm always the one that has to deal with it. And I have to, like, every time I have to do this stuff, I always gotta call out people for saying stuff and that. I mean, I had women try to push sexual bullshit on me and that. And I said, well, sucks to be you, honey, but I'm not that fucking sexually inclined. So that sucks, because I'm not. You might be as a human being, because that's how you think, but I am not as a human being, because I don't care. Because I had a woman before, when I was working at White Castles, did that stuff towards me, and I was just like, really, are you serious? And they got all mad and pissy and did the whole feminist thing and that, and they tried to get me fired over it, and people defended me. And, like, I always have people go and say stuff about me behind my back, because I figured out, because the GM there kept on saying, like, it's like, oh, you know, because they were all women there now. I'm like, you guys are accusationally just saying a bunch of random shit because you know that you can't get me. So instead of saying, well, if I'm not going to get you, that just means no one else can get you. So anyone that you actually like yourself, that just means what? That just means something. I had a woman literally talk about me in a various of ways of saying I was doing something very harmful. So these people really went on my YouTube channel. They were constantly stalking me on my YouTube channel. And they were saying, well, you can't say this stuff and that. I said, well, what in the right mind says you could say that stuff about me? That is pride, and you're an envy, and you're a demon. So, like, I don't care what you have to say. I'm like, if you're going to talk about me, and you come on my personal channel, and I talk about various psychological things, and then you think I'm trying to be like that I like to bang women and that, which I don't. So the only reason why you think that is because the person that's telling you that is the one that wants to fuck me, but she can't get me, so as a prideful, probably a very uneducated or stupid person, is going to get jealous and use envy as a targeting thing and press the feminine thing, which is potentially what women tend to do in this situation, and then say, hey, this person's doing this, but inside their mind, because a lot of people lie a lot about this stuff and they don't tell the truth about anything, and then all of a sudden, you know, I get in trouble with something I don't even know what's going on. And so, you know, I end up getting fired from the job eventually. And I didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, dude, what is going on with these people now? And I say, no one? They said I had like maybe one or two people actually trying to defend me. I said, I love how no one defends me when I'm getting criticized over something that I have no idea what's going on. And I said, I'm happy I left that place and that. Because I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I got threatened. I got, you know, these people trying to say, even when I was like communicating with the people that are online that, and the person was, you know, saying all the stuff and that, and like basically what it was is like someone said that it's something about me trying to get with a girl at work, and I said, well, I just said I think that she likes me and that because she conversates with me and smiles at me a lot. That's what I said. I said she probably thinks that I'm attractive. And the person was like, no, she doesn't think that, blah, blah, blah. Like, I love how people just say random shit. Like, you say no, 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 but you are not there, and you don't know what the fuck's going on, so you're just accusating stuff. And then I found out that the mother, the mother got involved. And it's like, okay, this was shit, how long ago was this? This is like 7 years ago. So I was like in my mid-20s and that. And so the mother started getting involved in that. She said all this type of stuff and that, and I realized that she was just extremely discriminative towards white people. Because I ended up talking to her daughter about it, and her daughter was basically establishing kind of in a hint way that she's very controlling now. So, well, I can see why you have issues. And like for some reason, like this lady comes around, figures out where I work at, and then she wants to come around and like, and she did come around when I was at Zips, and she saw me, and that we talked for a very small moment. Because I'm like, I'm not gonna get involved because your mother is a complete terrible person, and you spread so many lies that they're always out for negative stuff and that. And if it's a black people that live in the county for some reason, they're always, to a certain extent, super fucking racist towards white people. If you want to say racism, actually, no, they're super hateful towards white people because they think that they have a sort of thing that can like hate on people for because of slavery and stuff like that. And I said, if you think hatred is something, then you're gonna be full of hatred. That means that everything that you guess you want to agree with, and you think that I'm better than someone else, that's pride, and envy always takes after that because you want to be angry at things that people disagree with. And then when that happens, your life turns into hell. And you sit there, you live a life of complete destruction. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. And there's so many stories and I speak the truth. I've been like this my whole entire life. And I said I had married women trying to fucking do stuff with me. I had women that had boyfriends that tried to do stuff with me. Not saying do stuff with me like sexually. They tried to get closer to me and they'll start flirting with me because they think I'm attractive. I said, that's fine if you think I'm attractive in that. But if your temptations are going towards that, that means you're truly not in love with the man that you're with. You're literally being tempted by a beauty that you evidently like, and you're pushing yourself towards that beauty, and then you get mad and frustrated because you get caught with that. I said, that's the point. I'm trying to teach you, the people that deal with this stuff and that, that push these kind of narratives and that about being tempted by beauty, being tempted by sexual lust. Like, you guys have to stop. Because what's happening is, I know as of now, all the stuff that I've been through with these certain accusations, stuff like that, it's always been the same thing. Someone can't get me or like me or pull me into their perverted circle, and they get fucking mad at me because they're the ones that are pushing this sexual shit on me. I say, you know what? Sorry to say this, I don't fucking care. I don't care. Jesus as my witness. I do not care about the sexual morality of other people and that, how they treat other people, especially me. And a lot of people get jealous over it, and they constantly get jealous because people talk about me without me knowing. People say certain things about me, probably say, oh, he's so attractive, so strong, and that. I hear this shit a lot sometimes. I'll let come out of nowhere. Like, guys, I see, you really have to stop. Because I came in one day in the job I have at now, and the guy, I guess it's gay. I can't tell if he's gay or not, but he's attracted to me. And the other girl evidently was kind of doing the same thing. They're both attracted to me. Now, attraction doesn't mean anything's happening. Attraction just means that if they look at me, they find something interesting about the way I look. Because people take this really too far, and it's just attraction, simple attraction. And the way I look at it, I came in, the person said something, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's like he's in and that, I'm so happy that he's here and that. And I came in and I said, like you got other people here and you're talking to me like that. I said, please don't embrace me like that. I was trying to like push stuff away from that. And then, they were sitting there because they were giggling about something, I guess. And then when I came in and, I went around the back and that, eventually they came up to me and, well, not come to me, they said something, and I blushed because they were talking about me in a, in kind of a nice, encouraging way. And I blushed. And as soon as I blushed in that, they took the initiative to, they were smiling and they were being blushful too. And it's like, oh my god, like, okay, I completely understand. I'm like, but I don't want it. And like, first off, you're gay. I'm not interested in gay guys. And second off, the other girl has a man. And it's like, you guys have to really stop pushing these sort of things on the people, because it gets to the point where it's just like, I don't want it. Like, and not that I don't like and appreciate things that people, say about other people, but I say you're not saying anything about anybody else, and it felt really weird because everybody else was, one of the guys was there, which was the guy that always seemed to get kind of upset with me. And I said, and I pointed out, you got him here working his ass off at the job, and that I was praising him, and you're talking about me that I just walked in. I'm like, come on now. And I'm just like I completely understand why you do it, but come on now, I don't need to sit there and have that sort of thing on me, because it's particularly not anything that I really want. I ain't gonna lie, this is doing really good. I mean, look at all the AoEs I got. This crowd control is ridiculous. I'm just curious who else I can have that has a good crowd control, like all the AoEs and that. I'm trying to debate. The flamethrower guy's pretty good, but he doesn't have a lot of stuff in that. Truth is, a SWAT, I can get triple turrets in that, and if I get the cooldown low enough, I could probably throw like 6 or 9 down at a time. It'll just well, do everything actually. Oh, oh man. Whew, man. I got the shits. Yeah, I'm okay. Oh. Woo! Toilet paper. That is comedic as fuck. I need to take a dump. It's 96% more chemical damage. That is ridiculous. I love that. Okay. I always gotta get Billy cooldown to him. Get that up to like 300%. Yeah. Yeah, because it just keeps on dropping stuff. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I will be right back. We'll talk more about this stuff in that. It's always very interesting to talk about stuff. want the name Canadian Lake America. It's in between New York and Canada. These people were shitting bricks because he can do it. It's about America. People are getting upset about it. I said, well, I said, that's okay. If people get upset about something that another country does, I said, but see, America is born with God's blessing. Give people a heads up. We are the Gentile God-blessed nation. God gave us complete authority over the world that He created. That Jesus Christ created. Yes, He gave us authority as a time being. That's why we go to war with terrorists all the time. People say terrorists are not bad. All of them are bad. Okay, all these Islamic people that we've been fighting with, that Christians have been fighting with for the last like thousands of years. You know, there's a reason why we fight. Until it gets to the point when we don't have power anymore, and God takes over, then we'll know. Until then, America has complete authority over the world. I know people don't like hearing that, but it is the honest truth. That's what's happening right now. Whenever America gets involved with anything, everybody else puckers their butthole up and says, oh, all for America, or they say, oh, they'll suck our fucking dicks in America. There's a reason why we have the great power. We are the great power of the world. Period. We were made for that. And it was made for God. Hence the reason why you get these atheist assholes in our office and that try to do all this stupid shit, especially dumb shit like the transgender stuff and that. And they're enforcing that it's okay to be gay when it's not. Because it's demoralizing the flesh that God made for you. When people get upset about it, say, well, I don't believe. Just because you don't believe does not mean it does not exist. But there's more proof that Jesus Christ walked in this earth. He did miracles and wonders. He established that He is God. So I believe in Jesus more than I believe in a bunch of fucking retards out there that say a lot of stupid, ignorant shit. And they're just near human beings that are retarded. Because even Jesus stated, no one is good other than God because of sin. People get really butthurt about this stuff. I said, of course you get butthurt, because it's the truth. What you think of is not true. It's just how the world is. You know, Satan makes up a lot of lies. One thing about Satan's lies, they always seem to change throughout the years to a certain extent. God's truth stays the same forever. That's what truth actually is. Truth doesn't change. What is what is. And that's one of the things that people seem to really push at. Is what is. You can't change the facts of it. And that's when a lot of people seem to get really upset about it. So they get upset about it. I mean, you can't really help it. It is what it is. You know, manager now as a shift lead. And I was the one basically like going through and doing all of the necessary things to keep things going, which is, like being a good customer and that, communicate with all my customers and that, and all the same customers keep coming around, so I got to know them all. And so I was sitting there, and my GM didn't want to promote me to a lead until I complained about it, and I said, bro, it's like, promote me. And he said he promoted me, and then he lied about it, and he didn't promote me, he pulled me back. And then when we got a new DM, this is like part of the whole system management thing before I let the person talk about. My DM gave it to me. It gave me like a $2 raise. I'm like, okay. It's like I've been here I've been here for a long time. I've been here for going on 2 years now. It's like I want a promotion on that because I think I deserve that and I know how to do the job. And so he gave it to me. Another guy didn't want to. Because he wanted to hire a bunch of people and that. So anyway, I tried to get promoted to a assistant manager multiple times. And he says, well, you gotta go through all this stuff and that. Like, dude, I understand that, but like, the problem of it is, the dude was a kind of a lying piece of shit person. He, once again, another man didn't like me that because I got a lot of attention from women. And because I was very truthful. I said, well, if you follow what people do that other people like, say like be truthful and stuff like that, then you'll start understanding why people do things that they do. So I went down this road and I went down that. So he ended up hiring a chick that was basically the person that became my girl. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, it was a little while. It was like a year or so before anything actually happened. So anyway, as we were like communicating that, we're talking that road, after a while, like the first day that this lady came on, that he started flirting with her. Like, he was trying to do the whole mafia thing. That's kind of how he was. He did the whole mafia thing. He was sitting there, like, okay, I'm the team here, and you gotta do all this stuff for me. I still keep your job. Let's have a cool, like, fucking dictatorship type stuff. Like, oh, wow, really? That's kind of fucked up. And so, like, I'm just sitting there, like, okay, it's kind of screwed up. That's your job. And so, after a little while on that, I complained about it. I was like, you could have just promoted me. You didn't need to hire her. You could have hired her as a lead or whatever it is. And she would have given me more raise. Because I was there for like 3 or 4 years. And like, I was trying to get that job for quite a bit of time that because, it was a job next to my house. It was really close to my house. I could be here at the time of that. And finally, I got the job. It took me forever. I wanted to get the job before that, but again, a lot of people don't want to hire me. Like, you don't even know me, that. So they'll hire random people now. It's just getting so like retarded. And so later on in my job, the lady that I ended up getting was a girlfriend and she wanted to get me to hook up with one of her friends. That's how this was. She's like, you're a really good guy in that, good structure, that, really hard in that. Okay. I never met her before, but I was like, they were really close to that. And I found out some things that were happening. And the woman that I was supposed to get hooked up with, it never happened. Eventually it came down to that she wants to do stuff with me. And I was like, sex with random women I don't know. I don't want to have sex with you. Like, what is this sexual thing with you women? Like, I'm trying to understand, like, what is really going on? It is so irritating. Like, it happens so much. And, like, I'll be sitting there just having a conversation that, I'm just talking about that. Like, something stupid will happen. It's always a hello. So, like, so occasionally, after a while, she was like talking about, okay, listen, you get my friend that she's a terrible relationship. Okay, and I just like, I have a talking about FaceTime, and we chit chat, that she a lot of shit, and she got a little buzz, and she really liked that. And then something changed. This is when I started getting into the issue. So my ex sat there. She knew she was in a rough spot with her man. So instead of trying to get me to be with her friend, and she was trying to coerce her to be with me, she decided to rearrange and say, oh, I'm interested in him now. I want to be with him now. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, you literally have promoted me and trying to get me to be with her for like a month or so now, and now you're changing around because you're about to lose your man because your man's getting tired of something that was complete bullshit. Okay, I'm trying to see what's going on now. And so, like, after a while, now I started communicating with her friend that, and her friend was telling me about something. Dude, she's just a selfish whore. It's like, that's why I'm not really like friends with her anymore. Not with the way that she acts. I said, I can kind of see that because she does act like that, something like that. But so this is before I went to Christ. That part actually knew. I wouldn't have dated her if I actually knew that. Doesn't mean that it was just a enormous waste of money, time, and stuff like that. And so, as we continued on with stuff like that, it got to the point where her friends started getting fucking mad at her. She's like, and her friends start warning me about her and saying, like, yeah, she's not that good. That's why we stopped hanging out once in a while. I'm like, okay, it's like, I like to bring out people's hearts and that, because there was something about everybody that is actually really nice and pleasant, And eventually got to the point, when I tried to talk to them about it, she kept bringing up, it's like, well, I want to talk to you, that's your responsibility. Like, they're like, you're all being selfish, basically. Like, you all want something that only one of you can have, because, and I mean, like, the first time with that, she was, like, by actually trying to get me to make her a friend with her. Like, she was trying to get a threesome with me. And I'm just like, it's like, I'm not about that. I mean, not that I said these women are unattractive, because they weren't. They're actually really attractive women. My ex was very attractive. She had a body that was really fucking nice. And was skinny and big, huge butt. And she was very, very attractive. But when it came down to personality, and that personality was pretty good. Then when it came down to her spirituality was very demonic, very selfish. She had pride. She had massive envy in that. And of course, I talk about it right now because this is what I actually know about the spiritual world, of what spiritual, things happen, and when people sit there and do these things, that how evil and how stupid they can be. And so after a while, then when she started talking about her, she was just like, oh yeah, it's like, she's got she that. Like, like, I worked with her, and it was good for a while. That eventually came out to, I said, real hands, and she was just a bad feminist woman. When a man disagreed with her, she would get vastly fucking pissed off over it. Why? Men shouldn't be like this. Men should be. That's it. Like, okay, well, that's how they are. They don't respect women.
but you're not respecting. Like respect goes, both ways. You should respect all people and all things because that's just how they are. God put them into that position for a reason. As in the family they were born into, the religion that you have, and that's what God puts them into. That's a sense of direction that a lot of people should have to obey because that's just how it is. Barrier's so big. Look how fast my chick threw your But anyway, so like the moral of the story is just like when you deal with certain things in life that sometimes you'd be very surprised when you step back and actually absorb the real reality of things. Sometimes you'd be very surprised that some people are just extremely fucking negative and they'll push negative onto you and they'll expect for you to take care of their bullshit. And that's kind of the whole thing that I would say that I've been dealing with in my life that with some people that. And like you get to the point where it just like becomes a massive fucking headache. And like I don't know, it's just yeah, I don't know what to say anymore about this. Like the issues I'm working at, I have multiple women that are attracted to me and they show it all the time. That's why they do stuff like that. They show you small things that like I worked at Pickles. Oh my god, who was like the first place for some guy like me to work at? I never noticed so many women being jealous just because I say specific things that they get more clever. And I remember one of the girls working at she was making her that. And she was like, down to earth. Okay, that's cool. And like, you know, I feel like I remember there was this one chick there. She was a mix like she was black and white, like, or maybe Mexican like that. But she had a mixture. She was light skinned, like a black person. Not like light skin, but you could tell that she had features of African in her with American or English white or something. But anyway, she was extremely attractive. Skinny, big, huge butt. She's very, very like headstrong, attractive. She talks about working out and that. She's like, when I work out my glutes until they burn. When they burn, I work out even more. She had a big, huge butt on her. And so like I was sitting there and how I was starting that. She took me home one day, so I think it was rain or something like that. I had to tell her to a QT that was closest to my house. And she said she's being nice and that, because I was new there and that. I'm like, okay, that's really nice of you, and I appreciate that. And then she started to like, I guess she started getting, I guess, attracted to me. Like, it wasn't because, like, I would say when people get attracted to me, that's not because of, like, if they do like the way I look at them, that's whatever they choose to do. That's just how it is. But it was because of like, I didn't show massive interest in her like a pervert. I know I talk like a pervert. No, I joke like a pervert. I demoralizingly hate when women get demoralized by perverted men that just run their butts all the time and that direct me towards a woman. Unless it's like in a figurative way, I'm saying like, oh, you work out really hard, you have a nice butt on you and that. Some women don't take that as an offensive thing. I'm like, well, it's not really offensive. They're just that's a complete difference. These are ridiculous. That's fun. Let's see what we put out. We put out is 822%. I think I can look at my stuff. That is at 800. It's like zero. It's 0. What are you guys saying? 9. Their drone's 0.1. Drone takes 1,400. Experiments will takes 2,700. What does it take? 1,500, 2,600 something. Where it takes 600. The range is 8.7. Duration is 19.4. So basically this activates petroleum time, and this is the turn. Duration goes up, and it's every 5.7 seconds, and the range is 8.7. It takes 7. I just buried. Look all I have 5 plus right now. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, so like as I was talking to the ladies and that, I said something. It's like oh, you're a diamond that got and that, and I was saying it trying to be just being funny and that, and like the other girl came by and then she was like, ugh. She was looking at it, it's like you're very attractive too, like just kind of like giving it looking at like she wanted attention. And like I'm not even your boyfriend. You're talking to you're like okay, if you came up to me and say, would you go out with me? Then I'd probably be like, yeah, I accept it. I'd go out with you. That, we can go out to eat and stuff like that. Like, and then how I figured this out, that one of the guys came up to me and he said, he's like, what's with it with you? And I'm like, I'm just like, oh, like what? What do you mean? It's like what? It's like, why are all these women attracted to you? I'm like, is it because of the cap that you wear? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I really don't care. It's like, so I'm thinking when I'm not there, all the women talk about how attractive I am. And not one of them actually comes up to me and says anything. And these are gorgeous, attractive women. Now, I'm not going to say all of them think it. I'm going to say probably specific ones do. But I'm just like, okay, to me, I'm like, I don't really care, honestly. God, this barrier thing is amazing. It's so fun to use. I'll go to 20% more experience. And so, like, I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, and I'm like, okay, it's like, but I don't. But I don't care. Like, like other people care about this stuff, like, but I'm not a guy that really cares about that, so like, it doesn't really bother me too much. And like, and that's what it came down to. So I start being known as, the very attractive cook. So like, one of the ladies there that I had actual attraction to, she was kind of country-ish. She was, she was built like a brick house. She had wide hips, she had thick butt, she had big fucking tits. And like she was, kind of short, and she's like probably like 5'6" or so. And she, had like a big huge D cup. And so one day she came in with like a little like skimpy bra on. It was like her bathing suit or something like that. Her boobs were all popping out and that, and it was nice to look at and that. I was like, okay, I admire chicks racking that when they want to show off and that, because that's what they want. They want to be attracted to. So it's like, okay, I'll look at that. That makes them, if it makes them happy because they like me and that, then I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with being attracted towards something that you like, if the person likes you back, so to speak. I mean, obviously you can do it without that, but it gets a little kind of weird when you do it without that. And so like, she came up to our little area where we bring out the food, and she kept playing around with her bra, kind of readjusting her boobs when I was right in front of her and that. And I was like, oh, I say I complimented, on her and that. So it's like, oh, it's like, how's it going today out there and that? She's like, oh, I'm making a lot of money and that. I'm like, well, like that's good and that. It's like, I mean, you are showing off a little bit more cleavage than you normally do and that. She's like, oh, yeah, she's like, that's what it is, and I just have to wear this top and that. It's like, oh, it's like you do got some big boobs and that, trying to being a normal compliment, kind of compliment and that. So you got big boobs and that, they look good, and that's probably why you're making a lot of money. Like, that's good. See, I'm trying to be positive with this, but as being a man, that we talk about a girl's dress, women essentially like to take it to the extreme of being fucking ridiculous. Like, oh my god. But she didn't take it like that because I kind of figured that she just wanted me to stare at her boobs anyway. I said, it's like, well, your bra is really like small and that. She's like, yeah, I know. It is very tight. And she was trying to like basically throw down that she wanted to get close to me and that, but like she didn't know how to explain it to me. I said a lot of women intentionally do that stuff and that from what I know, and some people say, oh, that's not how it is. I was like, well, you're completely full of shit and you're fucking stupid. You don't think that. And so later on that like something happened in that like later on in that month or something like that, and she said something, she asked a person to make food for her, and the person was literally like 15 to 20 feet away from her, and I was the one up front. And I said, it's like, I'm standing right here, right? I got her attention over it. I said, I'm standing right here, and that's like, I can make you food, and that, there's no point asking him. He's all the way over there. And I said, hey, it's like, I told the guy to come over, and I said, hey, it's like, and I asked her, and I'm just like, I was kind of like playing around with it, and I said, like, what's going on with you? And it's like, why don't you ask me, to make food for you? And it's like, why are you trying to be so skittish towards me? And finally, she actually explained it to me. I'm like, so okay, so she's like, well, I'm just like, it's like, speak freely. It's like, I'm just curious in that, it's like basically saying I'm not mad at you and that. I don't know what's going on because you're acting kind of strange in that in front of me and that. And then she said, she's like, well, you kind of look like my ex-boyfriend and that. I'm like, oh, like, okay. It's like, but I'm not your ex-boyfriend and that. So why do you say we got different names? I might look like him and that, but I don't look exactly like him. And I'm just like, okay, but I'm not him though, so you shouldn't be treating me like your ex-boyfriend. And then I start figuring out that she still thinks about her ex. Something happened, and she ponders about it because I think that's something that she did that pushed him away. Because she brought it up. She's like, well, every time I drive on the highway and that, I've noticed sometimes I see him driving the opposite way and that. And I'm just like, oh my god, da, da, da. Like, okay, so something happened. Probably you cheated on him. No, I didn't say this to her, but like, I was kind of thinking it to myself. And like, something happened to why he broke up with you. Because first off, you're extremely attractive, and you got a gigantic fucking rack. Like most men don't break up with women that have such beauty qualities unless their personality fucking sucks ass. Like, that's just how it is. Like, men don't do that shit just to do it. Unless your personality is fucking terrible and they're annoyed over it. At first glance, they're probably like, man, you're hot, you got a big ass, your tits are fat, you're skinny, you look extremely good with everything that you wear. And I mean, yeah. But the personality of it is probably narcissism and controlling, because when you got luxuries like that, just like anything else, listen to what Spider-Man said, and honestly, Jesus says this too, Every time we have any type of great gift from God, with our looks, with our strength, with our intelligence, it is a responsibility for us to take in full, that we can be taken advantage of, or we can take advantage of others. So it's a responsibility. And that's what it comes down to. Because that's how my ex was. My ex was the same way. She was very beautiful in that. She had really beautiful, like, she had like super like light. Her eyes were basically like silver. She had a good smile on her in that. She had an extremely attractive body match that she was like obsessed with. And I could talk about good things about her, as in like she's really fun to be with and that and stuff like that. But relationship wise, she didn't want to be committed to anything. She thought the world should be based upon what she thought. And then I said, well, you know, I was saying the first part of relationship and that she would do everything possible to try and make me fall in love with her so that she can eventually show her true self. And eventually it was a kind of a manipulation thing. And then she told me, you know, the honest truth about why, you know, certain things about her now. I said, why do you live based upon that? I said, I'm like, okay, your past is your past. I completely get it that people have issues. Everybody has issues now, whatever the fuck that they might be. But what comes down to specific things and that you have to just let it go. Like past relationships, I don't think about past relationships as I put motions to it. I think about my ex and that, you know, when I talk about her and that, because there's a lot of good things that happen in that, but there's also a lot of things I learned from how she was. I would never date a girl like that. As soon as I find out that a girl's like that, which the bulk of them are nowadays for some reason, at least around my age, the millennials that in their 30s and that, I'm just like, you're all like the same. You all treat men that have a certain attraction like you own them because you're so like into them. Like I'm gonna say, like many women that I've like got close to now, I never tried really hard to try to get in bed with them. It was very easy, and I could say that with pride or whatever it is. No, I could say it was with pride in that, but like it was rather simple. All I had to do is communicate with them and that, talk about their feelings, and then they would get closer to me, and then they would just accept, okay, well, he says a lot of stupid stuff, but he's really attractive, so it doesn't even matter. And that's the laws of attraction. That goes with everything, guys. Like laws of attraction go down to like if you're an attractive looking person that, or you have some type of quality in that someone else likes, say a female that likes a male and a quality in that. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have like really like high strength, high attraction ratio, like you have a good structured, cute face or whatever it is, or you have a lot of money in it. For some reason, all women, to a certain extent, attract to various of things, and sometimes they attract to a lot of those things. And surprisingly, it happens quite a bit. And so when you get into that kind of like way of thinking that, it's just like, wow, it's like this is all over the place. And sometimes it gets very nerve wracking because you're like, how do I go down this road with people? Been doing this for an hour and 30 minutes. More cooldown. That's at 200. I gotta look at the cooldowns of this guy's stuff, and that I just find it really hilarious. So this is at 3 seconds. This is at 4 seconds. This is my like heavy hitting thing. This is at 12 seconds. Duration's at 20. This is at 4 seconds. Duration is 28. So my electric turret literally lasts 5 times, 6 times longer than my duration does. I literally throw out so many of that. That's why when you see them, that they're like all over the place, and they just sit there like. Yeah, they're all over the place. They constantly pop up. It's so funny. This shit's so cheap. My man, danger level 48. They got what 1500 of health. Their damage is like 500%. Well, it doesn't even matter now because they heal too much and everything just dies. It's so funny. There it is. This is the one I always want to get. Total number of tags you share equally and all this stuff. Okay. When equipped with Ultra Instinct, which I don't think I have, Ultra Instinct effect is override it to add 5 to all things. I think I might actually have that.
Yeah, you can equip all the items. It's unlimited items. So this is one for all. I don't think I have Ultra Instinct. I'm not too sure. No, I don't think. This is so stupid. I mean, the funny thing is, like, half of them die before they even get to me because all my turrets are down. This is so broken. It's funny. That's still weird. Yeah, it's every 2 seconds I heal. I want to go beyond the screen. Yeah, so every 2 seconds it heals me 10% of my amount. Yes. No, just what it is. And oh yeah, I I got a new pre-workout. I finally actually got a pre-workout. I haven't had a pre-workout in like almost, I think like close to a month. And I would have to say, holy crap, bro! When I got in that, I'm like, man, there's a huge difference with the pre-workout. I'm like, I'm not used to this stuff and that. I found out, man, I was doing squats and that just a little bit ago and that. And man, I was hitting the squats out really fucking good, just doing bodyweight squats. Trying to get the muscles to react so I can get them to like start to grow and that when I actually start doing heavier lifts. And it's just good to get stuff going in that because, sometimes, to me, it's just, I don't use a lot of legs in that, but I'm starting to use more in that. They're starting to grow in that, but it's just taking time. So, like, I didn't hit them too hard now. I just put a little bit of growth in them in that. Because for some reason, I, I always pull my hamstrings a lot. So I have to be really careful on my hamstrings. So when I lift weights and that, I gotta be, charismatic about that stuff. Ability. I keep giving ability area because it's just so funny to have such a big ass ability area. So I think this gets so damn big. It's like, power generator ability could hit. Whee! This shit's so I ain't gonna lie, I love the engineer. Like, he is extremely powerful. All you have to do is get his cooldown down of his stuff and that, and like he can't die because the AoEs are just they get so big if you just focus on your area thing, which is real easy to focus on. I think it's gonna happen. Watch this. Yeah, it just kills everyone. That's hilarious. Yeah, every time I get a magnum up thing or the magnetism thing, it blows up the whole area. It takes 8,000 damage times whatever damage I have, so it takes probably like 20,000 just kills everybody. So basically right now I constantly have my electro barrier up, and like before people even get close to me, they just fucking die. Besides the elite guys, which is fine. I don't mind the elite guys don't die, but everybody else, the little guys need to die quick because they'll surround you and they'll just get in the fucking way, so you just become annoying. my god, there's so much more shit to get still. This shit is fucking insane. Pickup raised by 80. Let's do it. That isn't crazy amount. I think I could be able to pick up. Oh no, I can't pick up. Too far away. It does pick up in the radius that I have it in. So as soon as someone dies, I pick it up. Whee! Dude, this is fucking hilarious. I gotta figure out there's another one. I know I got the saw blade, the tank, because the tank can have saw blades in that. And like saw blades are really good because they get really fucking big too. But this is like constant damage. And the funny thing is like the range of this stuff is ridiculous. But I don't have the specialties of this stuff because I don't have it up yet. Cause I've been using this guy. I got him up a highest level. Now he's level like 80 something. I haven't got any of the specialty stuff up yet, so I gotta see what else I can get. Dude, she's tossing shit like 5 times per second. It's fucking hilarious. I think it's 5 times per second. Let's look at her. It's almost 5 times per second. Almost. Or 4 times per second. That's funny. And her little bot thing. That does 2000. Little bot thing. Cooldown is every 0.09 seconds. It does 1600 damage. Say per second is 500, which doesn't make any sense. I think it does more damage than that, but like, I don't know why it does like that. Let's see this one. This one's actually 9k. Her flask is 9k per second. Why is that? Oh, because it only shoots per sec, or shoots. Okay, I don't even understand it because it does shoot fast. Look at that shit. It shoots all of it. Sleight of hand 20%. We'll do duration. Dude, she's just tossing shit. God, look at her. She looks so dumb. It looks so simple. She's like, dude, this shit's crazy. Everything's just dying. Let's look at her. I get slingshot. Okay, slingshot's nice. I'm about to quit this pretty soon because this is gonna get. Oh, but hit the bomb! Hit the electro bomb! Here it comes. Getting closer now. Okay, we get more shit ability. Ability damage is good. Electro bomb. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Boom! Jeez, bro. That's crazy. I don't even know. I have to go look at my money now, which I can't see with my camera away. Conclude the round. Oh my god, my flask actually did the most. Oh, that's with her. Oh, his electro turret did the most damage. This plasma can. Okay, his electro turret did the most damage. I got a lot of experience. She got up 17 levels. I got up 13 levels. She got up 17 levels. She got a new thing, rank up. Okay, so I got Stim Pack. It has a hormonal injection that benefits boost the team stats. The Resurrection. Or no, Recertification, whatever the fuck it is.
When a squad's health drops to zero, it is resurrection. The medic automatically uses defibrillator to revive everybody. The battery always requires every 2 minutes. I can just use it. What's this one? The best tools against most troubled patients. Ooh, so basically, I have revival every 2 minutes if I can get down. So basically, you can't die. That is fucking insane. I'm very happy with that. So I got 15 levels with this shit. Okay. Duration, critical duration, and damage. This one is area. We'll get the area up because area is really good. 20% area is really good. That's a good damage to that. I still gotta get this crap. There's so much crap to do. Okay, how many levels I get of this? 13 for him. Oh boy, that's just gonna keep going up. They do have these things, but never. Where's the medic? Who kills this too? Basically, basically just. I don't even know what the fuck it does. He is very. I mean, like, the ghost can do really good if he gets his cooldown really fucking low, because this shit spawns so rapidly. But he doesn't have a lot of AoE. Same thing with him. Like, he doesn't have, like, I don't know. Depends on, like, the turns to, like. These are the three people I always seem to use every single time. Especially my tank. My tank's pretty much. The honest truth is, he's got, like, God tier when it comes down to certain things. SWAT has a little bit of an issue, but if I got him up good enough, he'd be good. But yeah, this dude is fucking redonkulously fucking strong. Let's go here. Infinite. That's fine. We'll get rid of this bullshit. We'll go with his. That's not a lot. Look at this one. Area and duration. I need to get all that shit. That is going to be experience. First thing I say you want to do is try to get up your main character's weapon. That's the first thing you do in this game. If you get up your main character's weapon, it does really good. See how small that shield is? It's so tiny. Because once you get the plasma gun, you pretty much just try to get yeah, this shield lasts for a pretty long time. Oh. Yeah, it gets pretty big. It's just really nice to have because it just shocks everybody. So I can just walk around with it.
He takes good damage, too. Yeah, just per second guns kind of suck ass. I would have to say. Pop the shooter. Pop the shooter, so. That is. Yeah, that's for sure. S. Okay, so we get this for us. I'm gonna grab the medic really fast. You don't want the laser, I'll take the bot. The medic bot. My first chest. Let's see what we get from this one. Nothing really fucking good. Pigeon. Bullet. Okay, so I can get. I'll get the basic attack from these basic guys that have actually a lot. No, I'm gonna get the plasma cannon. That's like the best one. It just hits so many damn people now. With the shooter. Yeah, look at that. It's actually really big now. Cool. Yeah, I gotta get the ruby, sapphire, and diamond, or just ruby, sapphire. There it is. Yeah, let's kill all the assholes. Yeah, I might get the SWAT. I need to level him up anyway. So I gotta get his triple turrets and shit, cause you can get like triple turrets and they'll be able to hit really fucking hard. If I can get all of them up in that. Really nice. Critical. Yeah, I guess I do critical. I'll focus on the engineer since he's gonna be more of a powerhouse character. Especially once I get all the cooldowns and shit. Really quite nice. This game shit laser just playing on one hand. This game's awesome. As soon as I saw this game, like I need a good arcade game I can just play around and just do stuff. It's so cool. They just updated it. I hope they put in more levels and shit because this game's doing really well. It's not that hard made of a game because it's pretty simple. It's just the creativity of this game is really nice. I love creativity of stuff, and like this is very creative. It's a simple game. You kill zombies, and you level up. It looks cool. The details are just good enough. You don't have to worry about a bunch of bullshit. That's just nice. Let me see what time it's actually. It is almost 1 o'clock. Okay. I'll have to fucking go back to bed here a little bit. Nah, I actually worked a full shift yesterday. It was very surprising because it actually was pretty busy, so I stayed. Yeah, so today's gonna be the same. They tried having me come in early yesterday because something happened. I guess they were busy and that, and they were like, "Oh, labor's doing really good. I'm coming early now." I'm like, "Not really." Because like, it's my first day on. Because I was off Tuesday and Wednesday. I was like, it's my first day on. So I'm used to just like being late on my first day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm always late on my first day back to work. At least like by like 10 or 15 minutes, something like that. It's not a lot, but like it just happens, you know. So like, oh, this big dickhead. And like, so I've always got to sit there and be like, okay, so sometimes I gotta be a little smart with myself and that, you know, like, but I don't know. I've been working in this place for going on, what is it? A year and a half now. I'm about to get my another raise. You get raises every 6 months. I mean, how much I have to say that other people are probably gonna be like, be really mad because they make more money than them, but all I have to say is like, yeah, I really don't give a fuck else for teachers. Yeah, to me, I really don't care. People get mad about all the time about certain things. So I'm like, well, you know what? It is what it is, bro. It's like I can't help it that they want to give me more money because I do my job and I don't sit there and try to be a big old bitch about things. Like, gotta get the SWAT. He's not too bad. I am himself. Yes, all that means. Yeah, chess. That's what the goes. Perfect. Jam. Ability cooldown. Release cooldown. So I gotta keep that energy shield up. I get like 50% of stay up constant. The only thing I really do like about the SWAT is that he gets a lot of he gets really fast guns. So it comes down to like bosses and then shoot them. We have yeah, I might not be staying still in this area. Because some of the guys hit way too far away. Defensive.
not killing the big guys. If I kill all the little guys, the big guys can sit there and wait. They will die eventually. It's easy to lose. There it is. Roll. Fuck. Yeah. Perfect. So it's 5. So this is where it starts really good. These are really good. Okay, so that's gonna double once I get the other thing. So it actually does double. So I'll get you Norse one and just Norse combo. And I had to grab Ultra Instinct too, which is making it look better. Yeah, well, experience. That's what I'm saying. I have to get the cooldown though. That barrier helps a lot. Just wipe it all over there. Now I don't have to worry about shit. So just die. It keeps you protected from moving around shooting shit. Gangle's gonna have to go out. They need to get his assault rifle. Once again, this I kind of wish this was multiplayer. You could play with different characters. You can't play with one character. They do a team thing, which is I do that much to play. But if that was multiplayer, they didn't have to do that. First thing I ended up doing. I always grab my tank. My tank is so overpowered. It's just because like his super shotgun hits literally everything. And it's like literally 1/5 of the screen, if not 1/4 of the screen he shoots. And it's kind of retarded. A little bit. So option that'll get up. It's like 50. Oh, excuse me. We're almost there. Getting closer. Once I get everybody up, I can start getting all the little increases. Pirates get a lot of ability cooldown. Because I really don't need a lot of weapon cooldown. Probably a little bit, but depends.
Normally the military training I've tried to focus on because it can give me legendaries, which gives me like it gives me double already, but it gives me I think 4 times that amount. So if something gives me 10, it'll give me 40. If something gives me 5, it'll give me 20, 25, I believe, something like that. Yeah, I always get up the meta class. I mean, obviously when you start off this game, that you get 4 characters right up front. So you'll get the tank, which I suggest getting up. But this ain't give a shit. So I'll fuck all this. Yeah, charge my fucking battery. Oh, everyone's fucking hit.
That sucks there for you. Ruby! Now getting my gun cooldown. 21%. And that'll double to 42%. Which would be nice because I don't have to worry about weapons that much. Really, because I already have 100%. Once I get to 100%, we'll start popping a lot. Yeah, it's something. I'll probably give him weapon now. SWAT and focus on his weapon damage. Something happens at every job I go to, and it's just quite hilarious. Some people get like really upset about it. Like when I first started shooting that, I was working at White House and trying to get people to like more treatment, and they did. And a lot of stuff they said was controversial, but can't help but speak the truth about what people do.
You should say stuff about people, like talk about what they do. Like, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to communicate things. Like, well, if people get upset and I say these are my thoughts and these are, what people do. I'm just thinking about why they do the things that they do, and it's like, if you do what you do and that's it. It's like, well, people shouldn't talk. It's like, well, then you're saying that I shouldn't talk about things. You're saying that only you could talk about things. But it's like, yeah, this is how it always goes with people. I said, you could talk about things that are true about me. Yeah. And there's something I don't know about myself, and that is, oh, yeah, you did say that. And then I'm like, oh, shit. Then I'll be like, okay. I mean, I'll at least try to. I mean, it is hard sometimes, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, like, sometimes there's things that you do that you don't want to notice. That, like, I do, like, talk about specific things. I kind of contradict myself just a little bit, and, like, I get people that'll tell me I contradict myself. Well, because I'm trying to explain it in various ways, so it kind of just happens like that. Like, it's just how it is. Yeah, I remember this one guy came on my stream, and he kept arguing with me about specific things, and and he wouldn't stop arguing with me. Like, my God, bro, why don't you actually just listen to me, have a conversation with you? You're arguing with me. Well, you just think this thing. I'm like, that's because I can think about things, bro. Like, I'm trying to base things upon actual facts. You're sitting there just barking at me and trying to think what you assume of life is 100% correct. So I'm like, well, in some ways it can be correct, but doesn't mean that's always correct. There's some things that are correct more than others. That's just how you honestly have to look at it. You know. But if you want to get mad about things that and just push your stuff and that you're, well, what we call a dictator. You want things to be a specific way because that's how you see it. But the truth of it is, not everyone's gonna see it from your perspective because it doesn't work like that. I can't catch these guys. They're almost out of reach. That's really bad. I said this is how the collective mind always works. It works with, you know, what's going on. You know, not everyone's gonna think the same, and that's the reason why, you know, like if I talk about Jesus and that, people believe in Jesus. Yeah, Jesus is what I look forward to, not you as a person being a dick. I can say that like right now because this is what I think about it now. And when people say, "Oh, when you go to Christ," and that what really changes that? Can you still do things that you enjoy? And I'm like, well, yeah, you start enjoying different things. It's not that I can't like stop playing video games. Like, no, I can play video games and that. I do enjoy level up games. I've always did. I've always been a big RPG person. That I think it's very fascinating. You know, for some people, that it's probably not as, you know, they like doing other things in that. Some people like to, you know, sit there and read books and that, or they're fascinated with celebrities and stuff. I mean, I personally don't think people should be like that. There it is. I got it. Yeah, this is where it gets really easy. See all those? It's 70% to 42. This is 42, so this literally just gives me just enough uh, weapon reduction, where it helps out greatly in this. That experience is crazy. So I'm gonna level up a good amount. I'll level really quickly. Now I need to get the sapphire, which is the ability, which I can't wait. It's gonna give me my range. Increases by like 20 something percent or 30%. But yeah, so every time I like getting these conversations with people and that, you know, it's always a big thing to talk about. It's like, what are you really interested in? And, you know, how do you relate to other people with those things? So, like, that's what I say. You talk about Christ and that. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to probably, I don't know, you probably disagree with you and that, but oh, well, this and that, this and that. I say, well, that's the problem it is. To get confused about the world is the reason why you have, well, that's why you're confused in this world. You don't know what to do with your life. And when you have a focus on what to do, life changes because then you have something to push forward. It's like people believe in money net, they'll make as much money as they can. They'll be working 50, 60 hours a week. They'll say my paychecks, you know, $500 more. It used to be like, yeah, I got that. And that's what they do. Like, it's just how it is. It's like, when I see people that hurt for money, it makes me feel. I see people hurt for money and they're always broke. And they'll bitch about money. I was like, okay, so you bitch about money and that, but you're broke, but you don't want to work. But I was like, oh my god, it's the same shit, different day type stuff. I'm like, guys, work more. You have, if your money's not situated for your life,
Then work your full shift. I tell people, they got people that want to leave early all the time. I say, you're leaving early so much. I said, why? I want to emphasis, why are you leaving so much? And then they'll sit there and they'll lose like $200-300 on their paycheck, and they're like, well, I don't have any money. You lost several hundreds of dollars on your paycheck. And then you want to bitch about the economy being bad. You literally lost $300 on your paycheck, bro. Like, do you not understand that, you know, when you leave an hour early, probably like every other day, say for a 14-day period, say if you leave like early on, say you lost 7 hours of pay, that 7 hours of pay turns into like $100 that you missed throughout the whole day. That $100 can really like change the fabric of a lot of shit. Like how much food you have in your thing and that. So like, and I was gonna say, it's like if you're living with someone that and they're helping you pay rent and that because you got a thing going on, because you know it sucks to live alone and pay all your stuff and that, you know. But like you have to like constantly understand that there's things that have to happen. You're gonna have to have a full-time job. You're gonna have to fucking work. I remember like some people in that were doing like charity work for people in that. Like saying, oh, you can live with me in that because you know you're down your luck in that, but as long as you got a job in that, you're cool. They'll get a job and they'll barely work the job, and they'll expect for you to do things for you, and they're always the things. So there was an incident at work, and there was one of the guys I work with that he evidently was friends with some like extremely lazy alcoholic dude, and like he kept on victimizing himself for his past. Kept saying, well, my father treated me like shit and that, so I don't know what to do with my life and that, because I blame everything on my father. Why I'm like this? You're like this because you're just like, you choose to be like this. You can't. That's why when Jesus says you can't choose your family, but you have to honor your parents for having you. But you can choose your life, especially when you're with Him. So if you're with God, God can implicate all the things that you want and that you need to do. But if you don't reconcile with Him, you can't do nothing because you're not part of His family yet. People get really offended by that shit. Like, of course, people get offended by fucking everything. But God's supposed to be all loving, all powerful, and He is, but He gives us free will. And free will is literally what sets us apart from what people, atheist dumb fucks, always say. And that, oh, they get offended by something. They don't get offended. No, you're an idiot. Because you call someone dumb fuck, yeah, whatever. Idiot, dumb fuck. No, not dodge. If you had someone come into your family, disrespect you, treat you like shit, wouldn't you eventually just be like, dude, it's like, get the fuck out of my family? You would. You would instantly be like, get out of my family. I don't know you. How many people disown their kids because they're pieces of shit? That's literally what Jesus says. He says, you know, get out of here. I don't know you. Us human beings do that stuff. Like, we literally resign what God actually does with a lot of things. It's like family wants to love each other until family betrays. When a family betrays, then people that do love you will try to bring you back, but when they can only do so much stuff, some parents never quit on their kids until the day they die. They would keep on doing whatever it takes for their kids to survive. But the kids keep on being disrespectful towards the parents. Eventually, sometimes parents literally would just let you go and they'll let you burn in your own hell. I say, you keep being disrespectful, eventually people are going to sit there and they'd be like, yeah, you're just a piece of shit. And it goes down to, respect goes down to victimizing, crying wolf, which a lot of people tend to do that. I have a guy that I work with cry wolves all the time about really silly stuff. And he just makes up drama. And then he gets fucking mad when no one sits there and wants to believe in his drama. I'm just like, yeah, of course. Because it's fucking drama.
And no one likes drama too much. A little bit here and there is fine. And it makes me think. I just got thought in my mind about the kid that or the young man I work with, and that's always like upsetting with me, you know. He thinks I talk a lot of crap and that, but I just speak my truth, you know, and then I speak the truth when it comes down to God and that, you know, and like every time there's a situation comes up and that he goes to me and just like I talked about before in the beginning of my streaming that it's always has to do with me. Like, why are you so bothered about what I do? It's because I don't react to it. I know. I ignore it. And I always say it's like it sounds like someone was just talking a whole bunch of crap, and you still believe that's what you think that I am. Like, no, I speak what is true, and because I have such a huge knowledge base of psychology, and now the knowledge base of biblical, beautiful Word of God is getting known more with me. I'm starting to relate to things that people would never even consciously do in their whole entire life because they choose not to. And it takes time. It takes effort. A lot of people's effort and time, it never exists in the first place because they don't want to take the time and effort for it. So if you ever took the time to actually get to know people, then you actually think, oh, that's who that person is. That's beautiful, you know, or no, I don't like that person. But see how it really goes with a lot of people that they never take the time to actually get to know people that, so they just like speculate what other people say about them. And they'll say specific words like they think or they act. And it's like they act like this, and I think it's because this is this. When you use these accusational words like think or they act or I know, and you don't know, what comes into that notion is that, well, first off, if you don't know and you just assume, which is a thought, and you never ask the person a question, then how do you know? Well, you don't know. I think. Well, thinking's not good enough. Because you would say, well, oh yeah, I know that person does that stuff, and that, you know, that's just how they are. If you say, well, I think they do something, you see how the words turn out a little differently. I think it's like you're asking a question, but you don't want to answer. You don't want to ask the person that question. You just ask the question kind of to yourself. That's so cool. And so, like, every time I deal with these type of situations and that in my life and that, you know, especially right now, that I'm becoming closer to Christ and the Word of God, because I listen to it so much, and that's the only thing I actually kind of really enjoy for the most part, is listening to the Bible and that. And it's like, yeah, people are really psychologically kind of broken. Like, they believe in stuff that doesn't even exist, and they, like, try super hard to make it exist. It gets to the point, it gets to the point where it's kind of funny. You're just like, are you serious? Like, that's what children do. Children don't understand something that their imagination kicks in. Adults have to realize the actual reality of truth. Children are innocent and very creative, yes, but see, the children don't know reality. As in, like, if they don't know God or don't know demons, don't know Lucifer, they don't know, like, why life exists the way it does exist, they get pushed into a way of thinking that's just, you know, creative. They're just like, I just don't know. So, like, oh, but I want to know. Like, when I was younger, that knowledge-based stuff was really cool. I was really into wizards and witches and stuff like that, which is kind of fucked up. I shouldn't be in that stuff and that. It's not like I dove into the cult.
But I was just like, I like Harry Potter and that. You know, I watched Charms a lot when I was younger and that. They were like good witches. They're fighting against evil demons and shit like that, whatever it is and that. Da, da, da. And then I started turning into, you know, demons start crawling in little by little. And that's what happened. That and I'm just like, oh crap. And then I start realizing when I start reading the Bible, it's like this is what. Because I start realizing the truth. Demons come in when you do specific things, you listen to specific things, your mindset is specific ways. And then I let myself start to grow in hatred of things. One of the things of hatred that I start getting into is that, you know, I start disliking my dad. But at first, when I was a child, I never really thought about anything. As I grew older now, I started disliking my dad because, you know, my dad was, you know, he got angry over really silly stuff. I didn't like that. I'm like, why do you get angry over stuff now? Why do you care about all this stuff so much? And as of today, he kind of still acts the same, but it's not as much. So it made me want to think, like, okay, why does this matter? Why does that matter? Like, why do you care about things like, you know, like, say, for instance, like money? I think about that, like, to me, I'm just like, why do you care? And then when you start explaining that, it's like, oh, that's how he was when he was younger. He used money as a worshiping method. He believes people that have a lot of money in that have some type of like control over everything. I say, well, you're not really technically wrong to a certain extent, but that's just a worldly thing. So we base money based upon power, and that's the more money you have, the more power you have. And that's why people focus on making a lot of money next. It retains the power. I like, to a certain extent, yeah, but like, no. Like, power is many different structures. But that's what, you know, came down to it. It was like, well, I can understand certain things, but like, really? Like, personally, I really don't care. I always tell people that, like, it's like I care about stuff like that, like money and that, but I don't retain it as something that's more important than life itself. And now I look at it from a different perspective now, but before I didn't look at it like that. Now I just look at it from a different perspective, like life or money or all the stuff that is not more important than Jesus Christ and the heaven. So I'm just like, yeah, don't care about any of that stuff anymore. I use it because I have to, but I don't really care. Yeah, I'm about to go grab some more food in a little bit. I don't know. Let me see those first. I took my pre-workout last 2 days now. For some reason, it helps me crap a lot, so it's actually kind of a nice thing. I know it's kind of gross to talk about that, but that's just human interactions. That's just how humans work. And I was up at the supplement superstore and that, buying my stuff and that. I was talking to a dude about the dyes and all the stuff and that. I brought up, you know, the candies you used to eat, the snacks you eat and that they're just not good for you, because they put so much crap in them. Like, everyone knows about the Cosmic Brownie, right? You know, the Cosmic Brownie is probably one of the more tastier treats that Hostess or whatever had. And I used to eat a lot of that crap because I used to like it so much because it was so tasty. But then when you grow older, and I just like, my God, this stuff is like pure poison for you. And you're like,
Yeah, it is. It's completely pure poison for you. It's like if you want to have it, you can. It does taste good because they do a really good job making it to a certain extent, but like it's not that healthy for you. And so like I told myself I ate a lot of crap and that I started growing a skin disorder, and I tried to explain this to people and that I'm just like having a skin disorder sucks. A lot of people was, oh, you gotta do this stuff and that. It's like, yeah, but like, I started learning about demons and how demons are kind of assholes and that, and Lucifer's a complete dick. And when demons get hold of your spirit, your flesh changes based upon your spirit. And when I started learning that, I started thinking to myself, like, not at first in that, but as I went on with my life in that, in the last like year or so, I started thinking about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna pray to Lord Jesus. And I'll be like, okay, help me change. I'm not saying to give me, Christ. I'm not like talking right now, Jesus. I'm not trying to say that I need, I want your help. I need you, but I don't want like too much from it because I'm not that kind of guy that wants a lot of crap in my life. Like I want my skin disorder healing that, and guess what's happening? Uh, it's actually healing. Ha! Think about it. Oh, praise the Lord. I'm not even joking that. Like, my skin is literally healing. Like, I've been eating the same way for the last, like, I know no sodas, no dyes. Try to keep away from specific things and that. Like, if I do drink a little bit of soda, I'll drink, like, diet now, but most times I drink just pure water, or I'll drink, like, protein shakes, stuff like that, or I'll drink, like, pre workout. No dyes. I've been taking peptides and that. The peptides are supposed to help out with your gut health and that. They say, well, that's probably because of peptides. And yeah, but the thing of it is, like, I haven't been noticing that much of a change with it until I start praying to Christ. Until I start really giving myself to Jesus and that. And then guess what happened? My body started healing. Yes, the peptides. Yes, the food, the nutrients does help. But guess this: demons poison the body through the spirit. So they'll poison certain things and they'll try to make you feel like shit about yourself. Just imagine God made us in his image, in their image. So Father, Son, Holy Spirit, their image. We're made in their image. God knew who we were. That's why you see some people that are gloriously beautiful. And like, wait, look about it now. Like, okay, it's like, okay, so how's this even work? Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so my spirit is if my spirit is haunted by demons and demons possess certain things about me and they torment me, if I bring my spirit up to Christ and lay down at the cross, all the demons will vacate me. They'll in a slow manner. Some of the sins will linger on for a little bit of that, or the entities that, but the temptation slowly drifts away. Now I can't say what other people do towards me, and that's what's happening now. What other people do towards me, if that's them, their demons will attack me, which is fine. They can just say all the shit they want to say. I really don't care. That's why people get mad at me at work for really dumb shit. I literally just ignore it because Jesus tells me with the Bible and that, Jesus' words, the word of God, he says, people are going to hate you on my accord alone. But you resist them, you pray for them, and you try to push that positive narrative onto him. Some people will not listen to me and how I talk, and I already realize that. Most people they don't want to. They ignore me. And I've been heard from my job that people ignore me a lot. I said, why do you guys ignore me so much? Well, because like they say, well, the stuff you say, we just don't care. I'm like, so you don't care about things that are actually trying to help your life out in that. It's like, okay, so here's what it comes down to. It actually does make me upset in that, but I'm like, this is why I don't like work with certain people. Open-minded people are great to work with because they actually want to conversate with you. Closed-minded people are like the biggest pieces of shite out there, you know. And like they're the most ridiculous people. It's like you can't even have an open conversation with someone like that because they always want to talk over you. I'm like, dude, like I understand you want to talk, but like
If the statement's not finished, just to say, and you're like saying, well, I already know what you're going to say in that, it's like, you have no idea what I'm going to say. How many times people hear that stuff? Like, you'll have a conversation with someone else and just be like, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about in that. It's like, but I'm not trying to conversate with you that you already know. I'm just conversating to push a statement out there, see if anyone wants to talk about it. And like, you can't have a conversation with someone that has their fucking head so far up their ass that they just want to sit there and just blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, come on, man. It's like, I understand. And then you go to Proverbs. Oh, beautiful Proverbs. I love Proverbs a lot. The word of God speaks so beautifully in Proverbs. And the whole opposite of thing. But Proverbs really talks about human interactions. And Proverbs says, stay away from gossipers. Stay away from people that gossip and say things about. They'll probably say things about you that's not actually true. So think about this. So in Proverbs it says, stay away from gossipers because they always push friends away. And basically, in the new translation, I'm gonna say that they're just big piles of shit of people that they're very not contradictive in that, because a lot of people can be contradictive in that because it's just how it works when you communicate. It's just how knowledge works. You're gonna slip up in there. These people are literally just teeming with so much negativity in that they have to fucking talk about other people and literally make up shit about those people. I said my personal life, you only know if I tell you, right? But people really make up shit about someone's personal life and they'll want you to think that's true because their life suck and they're pondering and thinking about all this stuff in it. It's like when someone says, right, what have I said before? Like when people say I think instead of I know, there's a two separation. I think it's unevidential proof of something because you only assume about something. So there's not full proof that is. If you say I know, that means there's an enormous amount of proof of it, and then you can actually be able to describe who that person, describe who that subject might be, and describing what things are. You say, well, I think that's yellow, or but yeah, I know that's yellow because it looks yellow. So you use your senses to be so. It's like, oh, I heard something from someone. I know they said something, but then you say, well, I'm not 100% on it because I only heard specific things. But you still know what they said. It could have been about something that you're talking about. But this is where it comes down to really funny things about how people interact with people. Like I said, Proverbs that talks about gossipers. The gossiping is very terrible, and it's honestly very destructive. And gossiping comes down to people making up stuff about people and that just to start something. And this is what I deal with at work. And my God, it happens so much. And I'm just like, please, 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 Jesus. I really don't like it. I need you. And I know this is free will being activated. People can act how they act. But I need you to protect me from it because I do not like it. I hate it so much. Because if I did the same thing to these people, they would fucking freak the fuck out, say a bunch of stupid shit, curse me, try to get fights with me. And that's why I interact with people at work. And there's only Pacific people at work. There's 4 people that I work with that start enormous amount of drama, and some of them are a little bit lighter than others. One of them's not as bad. One of them is ridiculously bad, and the other 2 are like in the middle. So the way I look at that, like, okay, like, why are we getting all these interactions now? Why is there so much drama starting that? And I hope to know, or like, if we ever do have a meeting, which we will pretty soon when my GM comes back, I would love to tell her, and like, you know what? It's like the drama here is fucking ridiculous. And I'll tell you again, like, it's something it's like, you guys are so dramatized on late night, like from evening to basically from afternoon until when I come in. There's been multiple interactions with me personally. I've been getting slandered. I've been getting talked like shit to. And you guys want to implicate certain things that you think, but it's not true. I said, this is the biggest problem with most team effort. You're going to have a leader. You're going to have someone that is going to be, that's going to overdo you by far. And that someone is me. I overdo everybody in the place, period, besides managers. I'm talking about like the top managers. All the other employees, all the other lead shits and that, I outrageously outwork them in any which way possible, just because how they act. And it's not saying they can't do it, it's because of how they act. They're too emotionally involved with stupid shit, and they involve themselves with gossip so much that they create stuff that's not true. And then they push it onto people they don't like, or they're people that they want to be judgmental towards. I say, if you just speak the truth about things, there'll be no problem. Like, this is where it all comes down to it. And like, and you know, especially with that one guy in that, because he seems to really kind of push these efforts. And every time he come in, the dude's in a pissed off mood because he's angry over because he doesn't want to work hard because he gets mad when he gets too busy. I said it's because inside your head you think you need to get done with stuff at a specific time, and when you can't get done with it, you panic. And panicking leads to paranoia, and then you start thinking, and then as I say, when I came in yesterday, well, one of the guys came in that he's kind of a neutral guy. You know, I mean, he's emotional. He's kind of falls line with. He likes to be charismatic. He likes to care. And I call him kind of a baby sometimes, that because he kind of gets in arguments with really stupid shit. Whatever, you know, that's his own personality. Now, it's just how he is. But when he's talking to me, I said, "Oh, something happened with the other guy." And I was like, "I don't know what happened." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, he got mad." I was like, "Well, I don't care if he's mad. Now, I no, if he wants to go pout, let him go pout. Like I can't do nothing about it." And that's what it was. And that's when the guy called me a douchebag. I'm like, you literally are pouting right now. I'm just telling you, once again, what I say. I speak the truth about what I see and hear. And when I spoke it, he got offended by it. And then he said lies towards me by calling me a douchebag, said I'm being unfair to him when he's literally sitting there pouting around and getting mad over really silly shit. So when other people walk into this situation, especially someone like me now, I have to like, I don't want to be in this negative crap all day long. It's like you're gonna have to like literally stop doing this shit. That's what I'm thinking. And so that's why I told him, I was like, are we gonna be like this all day long? He got all pouty in that because I heard him call me douchebag and he has to whisper it. You know, like, okay, you can be a coward and whisper it and all this stuff. I understand that, but I really don't care about how you feel about certain things. Because maybe you just need to fucking work and stop complaining about the work because it's too much. If you think this is too much, then I guess you don't know how hard work can actually get. I said, dude, I worked shifts before when it was 2.5 hours of constant making of food, and then in those 2.5 hours, you might have a minute or two break in between all of it. I said, you work a shift that is a very small hitting shift. You can't handle 50 to 60 orders in between your shift, then I would have to say is, bro, that you need to understand that you need to grow past that certain boundary that you put yourself at and try to learn different ways to make life better for yourself. Like, you don't need to sit there and keep on doing the same thing. Like, you need to make life better for yourself. Sometimes people put out a standard for themselves and they stick to that standard. They place themselves down like, I'll die on this hill type shit. Okay, well, while you're on this hill, I'm in heaven. It makes you look really dumb, doesn't it? I think your hill is probably nothing compared to heaven. 'Cause heaven is enormously bigger than the earth, and your little hill is like a speck of a grain, speck of dust compared to heaven. So you can die on that hill. I'm going to go to heaven and live in a heavenly way. Which is I'm not going to give in to this stuff. I know life is hard, so I wanted to make it easier by getting stronger. If I can't get stronger in that, which a lot of people potentially don't want to do, especially nowadays, they stay weak. And they get mad because other people are stronger. And this is where it comes into fruition. The strength of someone else makes other people feel weak, which instead of getting stronger, they tend to get jealous and then they attack that person. And then that's where we go down the line of why people get fucking upset. Because this happened at Hooters. One of the guys there, he came in and out. He's like one of those guys that I think he's a player or some bullshit like that. I have no idea what the fuck was wrong with him. But he was really good at his job in that. And then like he left for a while in that. And for some reason they keep hiring people back because the person that was GM up there wasn't. honestly the brightest person, to tell you the truth. And that she was kind of like, she was a little ditzy. And so when he came back in that, I was really fast at my job. And here's what he said. He says, I'm losing hours because you're better than me. What? I literally said that. It's like, that's why I'm losing my hours. And a lot of people talk to me. It's like, no. One of the managers came up to me. He's like, no, you're not. It's like, no, it's because he doesn't want to fucking work. And he comes in whenever he wants to. I said, well, why don't you just fire his ass? It's like, that's what we're planning on doing. Like, out of all the other people there and that, I was actually, you know, one of the fresher new ones there that was actually rather good at my job, and I kept up with speed in that. One of the guys has been there for a while now. He was fantastic. He's like a legendary person there. He actually started working there. He was a little Mexican guy. He actually started working there when it first started, and he was really fucking good at the job. He has family and kids, and all he wanted to do was work. So he stayed in the kitchen cooking food and shit. It was the easiest thing to do because he didn't have to speak English that much, which I find that really interesting. He knew how to speak English, but like everyone pushed me out because they were just like, oh, we have to let you go on that because of this and that. Like, you guys are literally making up a bunch of fucking shit. All I want to do is work on that. You got a lot of drama here, so I feel that your hoe ass bitches here want to try to get flirtatious with me and that. I'm like, all I'm trying to do is be nice. If I like as a man, if I can't be nice and try to be respectful towards women and that, I try to. I'm like, that's the problem. It's like your women are all attracted to me, and they're getting offended because they're all doing the fucking bullshit that women tend to do, the bitch match, the drama type shit. It's always drama. But then we go back to that guy, and that he got offended, and he ended up leaving his job. He ended up leaving, and he told me, he's like, why didn't you work that fast when you first got here? I said, well, because I didn't know anything. I always tell people that I want to learn fast. The fastest I can learn is by moving at a good pace. So I move a little slow to learn how stuff works. And then I put in my speed with the stuff that I know. And he kind of like, was like, oh, it's like, yeah, that's how it works. And I was. And the thing is, people were getting jealous over it. Other cooks are jealous. Oh my God, bro, I just want to fucking work. And that's all it was. Same thing with shopping that. Where I work at now. I just want to work, and I'm getting fucking hit, like bashed on because I just want to work. I say, you know what? Just fucking leave already. Like, I'm tired of fucking bullshit. I'm tired of your stupidity of people and that. It's like, God bless you now, but if you're that like mentally fucking unable to understand that people are gonna be better than you in some way or another, or stronger than you, which I say is better, just move on with your fucking life already. Just like move on. Like, you're structurally gonna say, I'm the best guy here, and then you always want to prove it when someone else walks in. Why the fuck do you care? You're trying to prove something I don't give a fuck about. So like sometimes I've been noticing with one guy I work with and that, like when he gets upset, he doesn't do the job that he needs to do. He'll work overly fast for stupid fucking reasons, and then he'll pout and go in the back and start like pouting that. And like, bro, you got a job to do, bro. Like, why are you sitting? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, okay, this is what I'm gonna say to people. I was like, I'm gonna be upfront. This person's a shift lead. I say, you know what? I'm about ready to take your fucking job. You're about ready to get demoted because you are not a manager, and I'm gonna take your job, and we're gonna probably end up switching things. I'll take mid shift. You can take the overnight shift. The only time I ever take overnight is when I'm doing truck. But the way you act in that is massively uncalled for, and you don't deserve the money that they gave you. So we're about to roll this shit back because it's fucking ridiculous. That's one of the things I'm gonna talk about too, because I'm gonna get to the point like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, you guys, you know, want these people to go up there, that they don't give a fuck about the shop at all. They come in here all slouching, all pissy and shit. I'm like, bro, I don't want to work because you're fucking lazy. I was say you're all a bunch of pothead lazy motherfuckers. You're all lazy. I can outwork all of you, and I do it constantly. You're so lazy. Like, I know, like it blows my mind. All these people are like in their 30s or close to their 30s. All these young millennials, or say late Gen Z people, are just fucking retarded. Like, they're just stupid. And I'm like, dude, you've been working here for over like 2 years now. And the funny thing is, that guy got Lily hired on like a couple months before me. And he complained of that and got his lead position. No, it's like, no, they already asked me to do it. And I was like, I don't mind doing it. But I'm going to do it for your guys' advantage. And every time I say it's like, you want to work with this guy? And like almost all management that I talk to never likes working with him. I said, I don't mind working with him. He's a bitch, to a certain extent, because he cries and pouts and shit. But that's just how he is. I'm a bitch too sometimes. I get a little upset, not like that, but like, I'm thinking to myself, and I try to conversate with these people, and I was like, it's like either you guys just have to just give me more money because I'm doing too much for all this stuff and that, and like the people that you're hiring are just they're not that good. I mean, they do their job, but they're emotionally fucking broken. They can't come in and be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing, guys?" And that they're all like coming in. Ugh, I hate my life. I gotta go to work and that because I was playing video games all day and smoking weed and getting drunk, but now I gotta come in. My head hurts and that's because you've been smoking weed and drinking all fucking morning, you moron. Or whatever the case may be. Why don't you guys go on a pre-workout? Go on a pre-workout. It'll clean your blood out a little bit in that because what it does clean your blood out in that. You'll take gigantic fucking shits, and to get some creatine in you now, it'll make your brain more hydrated so you actually can function fucking better. And maybe have just a little bit of caffeine in that. You'll be on your way. That's in the fleshy sense. Through spiritual sense, you need to give yourself to Christ and you will change dramatically. That's what always seems to happen with a lot of people that go to Jesus. They change dramatically. I've been hearing a lot of stories, and now it's not a story anymore because I am a factual proof that Christ changed my life. Is it a slow thing? Yeah. Am I still gonna be who I kind of am? Yeah. My personality is not gonna change that much. How I talk, or how I communicate will change, but what I like that won't change that much. I just have a focus. I want to help people. I want to change people. I always want that. But you can't figure out how to help people unless you know the truth about people. But yeah, all these little interactions I have with this guy and that it's like it's always like this. And I try to figure out that, and I'll be like, "Oh, why do you attack me so much?" That's why I was like, "Why do you keep attacking me, man?" It's like you're cool with it one day, and another day you're cool, and that. And I'm probably going. This is gonna be assumption, obviously. So I don't know much evidence about that, but how this person acts towards me when he's upset and that he likes to attack me, like I'm like supposed to like give in to his bullshit. I said, number one, the reason why you attack me in that because you know I'm bigger than you, and because you think that you're stronger than me, but you're not, because I outweigh you by like 30 fucking pounds, and you're fatter than I am, and I'm just fucking bigger than you. I say, yeah, I'm fat. I got pudge. I mean that. But guess what? I'm just bigger than you. You know, that's all it is. And that offends you because I have more mass than you. Because in a psychological way, a lot of men that are weak men want you to think that they're strong because they'll say, well, I did some stuff and I'm strong. And I'm like, prove it. Like, let's go to the gym together. Oh, no, I want to go to the gym together because I know you're bigger than me. And then when like the thing of it is like they'll see me do truck. I'm like, not to say that that person can't do truck. I know the person's got some type of strength because he's a man, and he's the same built as me, but he just doesn't do nothing. Like, yeah, you're fucking lazy. Like, you have a lazy type of personality, bro. That's just all it is. Ooh, man, oh man, man, I got fart. Man, dude. Oh, oh, nope. Gosh, shit myself. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to bed here in a little bit. Yeah, get off. Yeah, 91. Nice. Okay, make sure you get the 95 to make it exactly. So stupid. Okay, I'll be right back.